Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is way overdue. I've been wanting to do this video for a while now, but as the world flipped upside down this year, I knew that there were things that needed to be prioritized and issues that needed to be in the forefront. But now that I'm readjusting to how life is now, and I decided that it was time to really resume those God-given projects, I knew that I needed to give you an update on my book and the reason why there is none. So, as the world changes and we're finding new ways of using social media in a more positive and authentic way, I knew that it was really important for me not to just show you my highlight reel. It's so easy and tempting to show the beginning and end of a process, to go from saying I have this goal and then skipping the middle and saying, hey, I achieved it, now let's celebrate. But I know that there is so much value in being able to be real and authentic about your process and say, these are the obstacles and the struggles that I had to deal with and overcome in order to achieve the goal. I think it's important for everyone, including myself, to feel that goals are attainable. And perfection is not attainable. That's why it's so important for us to know that there's going to be obstacles and struggles along the way and that you can overcome them. I think having those examples of people that are willing to be open about their process and how difficult it was to get to the goal only helps those who are trying to achieve goals themselves to feel empowered, strengthened, and just hopeful that they can do it themselves. You don't value something that you didn't have to work for in order to actually obtain it. That's the whole point of accomplishing something. There is a journey, there are steps that you have to take, there's effort that you have to put forth, and there are obstacles that you're going to have to face and overcome in order to get to the destination. And I've definitely had my fair share of obstacles throughout this process with publishing this book, and I think it's important to really share all of that with you. So, what happened to my book and where am I now in the process? So, the last time I left you guys off, I had every hope that I was going to release my book in January of this year. And at the time, I was working with a publishing company where I was self-publishing, and that was back in September, I believe, when we started the process. So that's why I gave myself the deadline of January. But as the date got closer and closer, I really had some big issues with the process that was happening specifically with this publishing company. And it was absolutely devastating. This was a very well-known, and still is a very well-known publishing company, specifically in the Christian world. And to have the experience that I ended up having with them through the process, it just left me extremely disappointed, very resentful, and definitely at one point, I just wanted to give up altogether. So back in November, that's when the process really started. And that first sort of step was to evaluate my manuscript. So they basically go through it and they see any sort of issues or concerns that they have that are either not in line with their own principles, right? Because it's going to be their name that's being put on this book, and they want to make sure that it's representing their beliefs and their principles. In addition, they want to make sure that there's nothing in the book that they could be sued for. So if I'm saying something really negatively about someone and I'm saying their name and I'm giving demographic information about them, they have every right to sue for defamation of character, for example. So that's basically sort of the first step in the process. And it was only the first step, and we had so many issues right from the beginning. And not that there were actually a lot of things that they flagged, which was a blessing. There were things that they wanted me to correct, which would completely alter my book. And the solutions that they were giving me just didn't really give me much flexibility or an option to move forward. And that was really hard for me because I had seen books from this publishing company that had very explicit information, went into great detail about, abuse or infidelity or things of that nature. So when I got the results back and they were telling me that me saying one sentence using the word unfaithful without any sort of details, they took that and said, I need to either take it out, I need to rewrite it, or I need to ask that person for permission to put that into my book. Part of me understood, but it was happening pretty often that by the end I was like, well, I don't understand how I'm going to be able to express my message if I can't be authentic and real about what I experienced and my story. They had even suggested, which I actually laughed at, that if I didn't want to get permission and if I didn't want to change that story and if I didn't want to rewrite certain parts, that I could use a pen name. And basically what that means is that I would be publishing my book under a completely different name. Like, it would not be this book by Ariella Rodriguez. It would just be a completely different name. And I thought that that was offensive because, again, there's a reason why authors use their name. You work hard to produce this book and you want people to know that it's from you. So that was just very odd. And my thing was, I had really wanted to work through these issues. Again, I was not going to give up easily. I wanted to work with this publishing company. Again, they did have prestige in their name, and that's usually why you go through a publishing company. They can help you with marketing, they can help you with a website, they can help you with producing and publishing a book, which I had no knowledge of to do myself. So I wanted to really work hard to resolve all of these issues to move forward. And unfortunately, the communication on top of it fell completely flat, and I felt so helpless and powerless in that moment because essentially me moving forward was in the hands of this publishing company. So every time I kept asking for an update, I said, okay, fine, I can fix these things. Now where are we in the process? And I, for an entire month, did not get a reply from anyone. And I was working with 2 people at the time, so both people weren't responding back to me. And on top of it, I had invested money. For those of you who don't know the self-publishing process, you are the one to give them money so that they can produce and publish your book. So I had, to me, which was a lot of money, I had a lot of money invested in this as well. It wasn't just, investing my time, effort, trying to get someone to contact me back. It was emotional and it was also financial. So by that point, I was so extremely frustrated that I had to contact supervisors and supervisor's supervisor, and I was just defeated by the end. Completely defeated. And I think the pressure of just knowing that I had this deadline of January, and I think that was difficult for me too, where, I was willing to let's get to work and let's get this done, and to have their negligence affect my deadline or my process or my creativity just completely left me angry. I was really, really, really angry. And I remember having conversations with my mom, calling her, crying, just the whole thing, and her really encouraging me to still keep pushing forward and still do it. But by the end, after a lot of just talks with God and prayer and just really paying attention to what it really was and accepting what the reality was. Yes, this was a company that I really wanted to move forward with, but if they were not going to meet me where I was and help me through the process, then I really didn't have a choice. If you could imagine the time that it took to even get me to that place, could you imagine the resistance of me backing out? Because essentially you sign a contract and you are at risk of not receiving your refund. So that left me feeling really scared. So I remember that day that I called them up and I said, I want to cancel my project and I want my refund. And I got off the phone. At that point, this supervisor was probably sick of talking to me because I had called her probably 5 times within a 2-week period, that she was probably like, yes, let's get her out, because, I was advocating for myself. And I encourage you to advocate for yourself. Again, if you are the one investing your time, energy, and money into something, you have a right to advocate for what you're paying for. Thanks, Mom, for always teaching me that. So she did approve it, and that was huge because I really didn't think that was going to happen. So I was so grateful that they were actually going to let me out of the contract and give me that refund. But I just remember emotionally getting off that phone, I was bawling. I was so upset, so sad. Just at that point, I felt like, is this even worth it? I really felt like I just wanted to give up. What's the point? If a company like this, who knows their stuff, can't even help me, then how am I going to do this myself? Do I start looking for a different publishing company? I didn't know what other routes there were at the time. And I'm so grateful that God has really put some really incredible career-driven, God-driven women in my life, because one of these women, who's a really good friend of mine, I had a conversation with her, and she actually also had published a book, and she self-published through Amazon. And on top of it, publishing through Amazon is free. So this is a nice little tip for all of you who are thinking about publishing a book. Definitely check it out. So I am now 100% on that route, which I am excited for. I still have some research that I need to do with Amazon publishing, and I'm not sure if anything has really changed since the pandemic, and so I have to get back into that. But I also have been really focused in these last 5 months, how long has it been? 5 months, 6 months, on really producing my book cover. I am so excited for you guys to actually see it because it's pretty amazing. Again, if you're doing it this route in terms of self-publishing without an actual publisher or publishing company, it is a lot harder in terms of you're doing all of the work yourself. So everything, down to the book cover, down to formatting the book, down to editing, all of that. You're doing everything yourself. You are your own publishing company, basically. But there are benefits to that, like I said. So I just finished getting all of the artwork and material for my book cover, and I am so excited to actually give credit to these 2 amazing artists who have really produced something beautiful and exactly what I wanted. So I'm still in the process of that because I have to, I'm working with someone to actually edit it all and make sure that it's nice and pretty and centered and beautiful. But that's where I'm at. So I am still chugging along. I am just trying to tackle all the obstacles that have come my way. Although this process has had its difficult moments and will probably have more difficult moments, I wouldn't change a single thing. I've been able to learn more about the industry, and I've really been able to learn more about myself and what I am capable of, and the fact that I am resilient and I can conquer obstacles in front of me. And I'm thankful to God that He just continued to instill that fire and that passion inside of me to know that this is something I want, this is something that I am passionate about, and I am not going to stop until it's actually accomplished. And I also really wanted to thank all of you who have really helped me throughout these last 6 or 7 months, and who have encouraged me, who didn't let me give up, and for those too who have shared with me their own journey and the obstacles that they had to overcome and the struggles that they had to go through, because it's your bravery that really helped strengthen and empower me to really conquer my own battles as well. And that's really the most important part of accomplishing a goal, right? It's not really the goal, it's who you're becoming throughout that process, so that when you get to that goal, you actually are completely transformed and you get to operate in a new strength, in a new level of hope. And that's a really, really beautiful thing, and something that no one can take away from you. And I hope this encourages you to keep pushing forward, go after your dreams, go after your goals. And I'm excited to continue to update you on my process. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, but remember that God loves you so much more. I'll see you guys soon.